Yeah. So just hello, fans at home and traveling, and welcome to the opener, first game of the season for the Minnesota Strike. We are here as Minnesota Strike takes on Portland Rising out of Maine. It is overcast today. Rebecca, what was it like down on the field?
Well, yeah, it's a little overcast. However, there's just a tiny bit of wind, and hopefully with these really skilled throwers today, it won't affect the game too much. We're really excited to see Minnesota Strike take on Portland Rising today at home. It's Minnesota Strike's first game of the season and also their home opener.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those that don't know, I'm Kelsey Percy here today with Rebecca Klein. We are excited to be breaking down this game for you. So Portland has already played a game this season. They lost at home to New York Gridlock, and they might be carrying an advantage, some would say, into this game. This is, as we mentioned, Minnesota's first game. Thoughts there of, does it give Portland an advantage? Did they get that extra boost in chemistry? Is it a negative to them to have already lost on the road, or does that drive them on further?
It's hard to say. It's kind of an age-old question, right? Rising had a really close contest with New York Gridlock last week. Gridlock is a perennial, really, really strong team, so it was a great game. But we're really excited to see what they can do here against Strike and sort of build on what they had from last week.
I did find out, and it wasn't immediately apparent from the film that we watched, but New York only took 14 players to that game.
Oh, wow.
So they were playing very, we'll call it lax defense. And that will be one of the things that I'm very interested to see is, of this Portland and Minnesota teams, which one is more successful at putting on defensive pressure? We'll have a number of different keys and items we'll be looking at here, but lots to unpack in this game. Yeah, absolutely. So as we're looking specifically at Portland, when we were talking to the coaches, some of their keys for the game, D conversion, really possessing on defense, trusting their resets. Also looked at resilience through joy, and had a lot to say about looking to keep an up mindset, riding through the lows of the game, and staying in a place of resilience in terms of their mentality. Minnesota, on the other hand, were very, call it analytically focused for their keys. One of their big things was to take away big chunk unders and really make Rising use the width of the field and work harder. So again, that echo of the defensive pressure. Also really looking to develop a defensive identity, incorporating and using the new talent that they've gained this year. So challenge, but something that they could really turn into a strength.
We're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be right back to kick us off for our home opener.
Shift into that and own that.
All right, so as we come back here to Seafoam Stadium, we're going to take a second to talk about the weather, which is always paramount as you're talking about outdoor ultimate games. Here in Minnesota, we have a classic April day. It's about 56 degrees. Wind speed is just over 11 miles per hour out of the north, so blowing from the left to the right on the screen once we start our game. Again, that's a little bit of wind, but nothing these really talented throwers shouldn't be able to handle, and we're hoping it doesn't have too big of an effect on our game today.
Will not be tolerated.
Absolutely. So one of the interesting things, having both coached and played in the stadium area, there will be little pockets of wind that will be coming around the stadium from the west going into the east, and so there will be counter wind. You're going to see that probably more when throws get up into the higher levels. So a really big huck would be an example, or if players are feeling pressured, we hope, by defense. We'd love to see some of that today, and so are going to, upside down throws, hammers for their release points to get out of that pressure, that could really be when we see the wind have a play.
Yeah, one thing I noticed coming up here to the commentator booth is how much more windy it is once you get up a few feet. So it's a good point with those big high throws, which you might see on hucks. They could kind of get turned over a little bit.
Absolutely. So something we were talking about, Rebecca, coming into this game is, especially first game of the season for Minnesota, some of the players that they've lost and new talent that they're bringing in. Who was notable to you?
Yeah, so a big difference in the roster for Minnesota Strike is that they lose Robin Fenig, who is one of the strongest female matching players in the mixed division club-wise. She was a total game changer. Yeah, I mean, you're right.
She's phenomenal.
She was a total game changer for them last season. She was not afraid to throw the disc anywhere on the field that she could get it. So she is not playing in the PUL this year, so that's going to be a big difference. However, they did pick up a lot of awesome talent, particularly Erica Bacon. Really excited to see her back in the Twin Cities area. She just moved back after a little bit of time away, and she's going to be holding it down in the handler set there. We also have a new player, Amelia Zadeklik. She is the youngest player on the Minnesota Strikes roster this year, a senior in high school currently. Really, really excited to see what she can do out here on the pro level, because she has been absolutely killing it in the high school level as of late.
Yeah, for a player so young, very poised, very dynamic.
So the Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. Additionally, this live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order, or check out the PUL Athlete collab shops. If you're enjoying today's stream, please consider donating by scanning the QR code on your screen right now or at strikeultimate.com. Minnesota Strike is a nonprofit organization, and all donations go toward payer play, travel costs, and bringing you high-quality live streams like this one today. Thank you for supporting the strike.
Absolutely. One of the things that I've enjoyed so much about the strike, the PUL, the WL's existence, is that it really gives players that elite level exposure regardless of age. You get to see college players, club players come together and get this new level of experience and something to really strive for. It's very exciting, and also creates, especially for club players, this early preseason, just see it growing in prestige, success, fan base, which is amazing every year.
Yeah, we got a lot of fans out here today. Looks like we are getting ready for the first point.
Getting our first look at who Portland is putting out.
It looks like O'Connell, Wool, Ray, Zhao, Pellegrini, Cruz, and Kelsey Devlin on the end there.
And I'm looking for the disc to indicate.
It looks like the strike is going to be pulling from the right side of our screen observer just through Walby the disc. She is one of Strike's big pullers.
Yeah. Okay. So with Rising starting on offense, one of the things to watch that will be very interesting is Rising plays an even 3-line rotation. So they don't necessarily have set O or set defense. Some lines that they will start with, but they're wanting to develop the full depth of their roster with that even rotation and not really highlighting key players.
All right, and we are off here with the opening pull from Walby. It goes to about the 40-yard line, and Rising is over to pick up. Over to Zhao in the middle of the field, and she hits Jaylee Cruz right in the middle. Looking for a reset here, number 17, Devlin.
So something that Minnesota highlighted that they really want to take away is they thought that Portland was very comfortable with their backhands on the inside, using them for breaks, using them to hit that space, and they wanted to take it away. And already I'm seeing a little bit of impact. I'm curious if Minnesota can really hone that.
Looks like that around throw to Zhao was just out of bounds. Observer calls it out. So Strike is going to take over here going on offense. Rachel Johnson over to pick it up.
First break chance. Very exciting.
And Monshine right away is on a deep cut. She comes back under. Now Walby is going to hit Sarah Helm. Can she get there? Oh, so close. She just gets her hand on the disc and it just bounces off. But really good run by Helm to get down there. Let's hope we can bring that energy into our future possessions.
And that was a great shot deep. It held up there. I didn't think Helm was going to have a chance. And as you look at it again, take a look at this.
Oh,
she
so
gets her
close.
fingers on it. She closes the gap. That's wind in play. You're throwing into a headwind there. It's going to make it sit up and make discs available that weren't previously.
Yep. So Rising gets it back here. Erin Ray with the disc. Zhao and Devlin, and Wool, holding down the handler core. Up to Pellegrini. And Rising is doing a pretty good job, it looks like, of using that whole width of the field. They're kind of getting those arounds with ease so far. Now this is Devlin.
So remember, that's something that Minnesota had wanted to emphasize. They're wanting to make them throw more passes. And so forcing them out, giving them that option instead of letting them pierce downfield.
Nice inside throw to Zhao, and she is going to huck it up to Pellegrini, who comes down with it. Maybe a bit of a size mismatch there with Courtney Walby on the mark. And nice to see Portland with some patience here on the end zone line. They are about 10 yards out.
I would say red zone was an area where Portland could have improved in the last game, so I will be interested to see how they execute here.
Yep, Zhao and Cruz working together, and Zhao will hit Cruz for that first goal.
Smooth like butter. That was really good. I loved the stack discipline of Portland. They really let the handlers or three players that they pull out dictate and have space to run that play.
Yep. You didn't see any of the downfield cutters sort of taking up space that could be used for a handler, and that's always nice to see when you're trying to be organized and score the goal. So a one-turn possession for each team here. Slightly longer point maybe than Mort Rising would want for their first point, but they score it anyhow on that nice upline cut from Cruz. So good start.
Yeah,
and the nice spike there from Cruz.
Absolutely. No, so I would say wins for both the offense and the defense there on the first point. Yep. Defense did apply pressure, was able to get a takeaway. The offense, once they got it back, maintained possession and had a beautiful red zone.
Yep, absolutely.
That's a nice start to this game.
Taking a look at the O-line here for Strike. We got Emery Odapalik, who is one of our new additions to the Strike roster, along with Danielle Byers, Michaela Daly, Steph Wood, some folks we've seen here before. So that pull goes up, and Daly is going to pick it up. Ooh, and almost a run through D there from Rouse, but Bacon holds on to it and finds Byers downfield.
Something that'll be interesting is this Minnesota Strike team has so much chemistry together. Their offense is a very tightly honed unit.
Nice find to Danielle Byers over on the far side, and she is going to put it up, but it looks like Wood had already started coming back under when that throw went up, so unfortunately that's going to hit the ground. Again, nice bid from Wood, getting her hands there.
Really heroic effort. It does look like we'll get another look at it. Watch here. Considering she was moving the opposite direction, she closes. She almost gets there. And I think had she not already committed her momentum, she catches that disc.
So Portland going upwind now. Here's Player hucking it to Rouse. Oh, and it floats right over Bacon's outstretched arms, and Rouse has it over to the handler there. This is Chan. And it looks like there is a stoppage. So one thing you may see in the PUL is, it looks like a timeout, actually. We're going to talk a little bit about the rules for the Premier Ultimate League, a quick primer on the rules. The objective for Ultimate is to move the disc down the field with the goal of catching the disc in the end zone for a score. We already saw that happen once. There are 4 12-minute quarters. We're in the first one right now. In the first 3 quarters, the final possession will continue until a score or a turnover occurs. In the fourth quarter, though, the game will end at the buzzer. Players can't run with the disc, although the disc can be passed in all directions. Ultimate is a self-officiated non-contact sport. That means that players themselves call their own fouls and resolve disputes. We do have observers. They're the ones in the orange shirts. Players are allowed to go to them with questions about rules. They also make in and out calls and whether the disc is up and down. These rules are based on the USA Ultimate rules with some timing and play stoppage modifications. So a difference between the PUL and USA Ultimate rules is that on a timeout, you can sub in and out players. So you might see some different players on the line here than we saw before the timeout happened. So that looks like Jean Wong is picking up the disc with Bacon on the mark.
Yeah, I love that you highlighted that. It's a really interesting strategic wrinkle, and teams can get an utter advantage if they use it well.
Nice around right away up to Jung. Oh, and that's just too far inside for Palacio. So Daly is going to go pick it up on sort of in the corner over there. So maybe we'll be looking to get it around and out of that sideline space.
You'll notice also, you mentioned changing the trust that Minnesota had in the defensive capabilities of its O-line. You've still got essentially the entire same O-line out there that started this point.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting to see what sort of strategic choices coaches make in those moments, because that's unique to a PUL type game. Poyer catches it under some pressure from Hampton. She is right on the sideline, gets it to Bacon. And Bacon with a quick pop-up up to Odopalek. And Odopalek's going to try to find Rupp there, but the disc goes over her head. That was some really good pressure there from the defense from Portland, sort of forcing Rupp to go up maybe a little bit earlier, where she theoretically could have just kind of backed up and caught it. But that defensive pressure really makes you think twice. So Portland has the disc once again. This is Annika Chan with the disc right now. Looking downfield for Caitlin Fitzgerald. And nice around that Byers mark. That is not an easy mark to break.
I love that Erica Bacon there focused on where the thrower would be looking before she attached on the mark. She took away that option, made it more difficult, and then latched.
Oh, drop from Fitzgerald.
That's tough. It was thrown just a little bit too far out in front of her. This has been a messy, scrappy point so far.
Yep. And remember, there already was a timeout in this point, so Byers with the disc now. She'll find Bacon for that reset, and the two of them will play catch for a little while. Nice continue cut from Wood. She has really good cut timing. She'll find Poyer about a yard in front of the end zone. And Poyer hits Odopalek for that goal. That is the first goal of the Strike season, as well as the first stat for Emery Odopalek.
That was a nice cut there. I was a little concerned the Strike stack was compressing further and further and further over to that side of the field. They had done a much better job earlier on clearing out. And let's see if we'll get another look. Poyer communicating through fakes, just a quick pop up, very gentle throw. Remember, there is wind behind it, so they're having to be careful to not overthrow. Not a lot of real estate there.
Looks like maybe there was a bit of a defensive breakdown, maybe a switch that someone called and didn't hear, because Odopalek was pretty open there. So a way to take advantage of that on the Strike side. But a well-fought point between both teams. That was a long one, and used up a good chunk of that clock, and we're at 1-1. So we have a new line here for Strike on defense, and a new line on O for Portland. Like we mentioned earlier, they have 3 pretty distinct lines, so we're likely to see some good variance in terms of players.
Yeah, this is the first time we will have seen Erin Ray, someone that we expect to see exciting teams out of. She's a Worlds player, big body, very dynamic, and someone that Strike would love to shut down, but it's going to be hard work.
Indeed. Wool with the disc now in the center of the field. Nice around that high release lefty. To Cruz. Oh, and it sails over the head of that handler. Good job for Alicia Carr to get her body in there to make sure that Hankin could not catch that. So Strike now is going to pick it up. Oh, it looks like there was an injury a little ways back here. That is O'Connell. Hopefully they're okay. Typically when an injury occurs in an ultimate game, play stops right away, and the disc will go back to wherever the injury occurred. So we'll see what happens here in terms of possession.
It might be a call, actually. There seems to be some discussion. I'm wondering if she got stepped on and is calling a foul.
So something that we sometimes see either from players or from the observers in the orange shirts are hand signals, which can be helpful for us in figuring out what's happening down on the field. So it looks like foul, no contest. We see those arms crossed. That means foul, and then sort of opening up to your hands facing the sky. That is no contest. So it looks like Liv Player's coming out to chat about it. Maybe she is subbing in. But there's some chatting going on about
Try to get a look of it there for you. Unfortunately, it happened off screen, but just very deep in the play. Does look like she'll be able to walk off the field under her own power, which we do like to see.
Yep, and whenever an injury occurs, teams are allowed to make a sub. So it looks like O'Connell's coming off the field and player is coming in.
So Minnesota will retain possession.
Semper over to picking it up. Semper is a rookie on the strike team as well. Oh, nice bid from player. Subs in and gets that layout D on Sarah Mextroth, no less. That is pretty cool. All right, so there is Wool picking it up, heading over to Devlin. Oh, nice pressure there from Semper. Looking a little stagnant downfield. And maybe a switch again that didn't quite go off as planned. Player open at the front of the stack. Finding Wool again.
I'm really liking this defensive spacing of the defenders on the handle specifically. They're letting the second defender really latch into that lane space instead of being tight to the second reset.
And looks like Zhao is trying to get an around off, and she does get that around to Cruz. Nice inside throw there to find Wool. And that hand signal with sort of the goalpost arms, that means a pick. So in Ultimate, you are not allowed to, if anyone gets in your way when you're on defense of following your person, that is a pick. It's allowed in basketball, but it is not allowed in Ultimate. So thank you to the players for using that hand signal. So play restarts here with Wool on the disc. Oh, close pressure there from Ostergaard, Fireside Ostergaard. She hits Cruz, who's pretty poached, and Cruz finds player for the bookends.
Strike tried to get some switch action there to recover after that bid that didn't play and just couldn't quite make it. What an interesting point.
So we're going to take a look at this pretty impressive layout D from Liv player first. So Semper picks it up, tries to hit Mextroth, and gets just enough on it so that Mex is not able to make that catch. Really impressive stuff.
So I've got some thoughts about what Minnesota is doing on D. I'm going to sit on it for a little bit. I want to watch a couple more, but pin that in your brain out in the audience. Keep an eye on what they're doing on defense and see if you can figure it out. Again, I've got an idea. Feel free to hit me up on Instagram, KP Points, if you think you know.
So this is the third point now that has been scored in that right side end zone, which is slightly downwind. So we'll want to see who's going to be the first player that can break and score in that left side end zone. Player is out there again, sort of as a reward for those bookends. She is pulling here, and we'll see strike on offense.
And you will see her take that specific pulling role more often. She's probably one of the few players you'll see consistently crossing over.
Was a great pull. Up to Wood. Wood with the big backhand fake. Instead, she's going to hit Poyer, who's wide open in the underspace. A little bit of clog in there. Yeah, just overthrowing Bacon. Bacon putting her body on the line, trying to catch that disc, but not quite able to get there. Hankin here, finding the around to Wilson. See if Strike can stop those break throws. Up here is Sophie Knowles. Close Poyer there, but Chan is able to make that catch, and they are right in the middle of the field, so they have lots of space to work with. There's a nice around. Oh, good pressure there from Adapalik, but Knowles is able to bring it down, and she sends it up to Chan. Is Poyer going to get there? No, she's not, so Chan is able to catch it. That is a break for Portland Rising.
That's a big break, too. We're getting here down into 2 minutes with the amount of pressure they put on the O. So first off, Minnesota does play a rebound line. So that's a line other than their primary O that they will send out instead of sending their O out a second time. It's a choice to develop a second O line, but it also puts fresh legs on the field. So they'll send that out. It pulls them deeper into their non-primary stack. But also with the amount of pressure that Rising has been putting on them in this first quarter, can they score in 2 minutes? The clock does become a factor.
Yep. Yeah, and clock management becomes a factor too, because if you have the disc when the clock expires at the end of the first quarter, you get to keep it until you score or throw a turnover. So the idea when managing that clock is if we don't score, we at least don't want to give the other team the opportunity to score before the clock goes to 0.
Yeah, it's an interesting wrinkle to the rule. So my primary background up to this point is I've, for the last 4 years, been a coach of the Minnesota Wind Chill. That is not how it plays out. The play stops. Like if the disc is released, they will play out that instance of whatever happens, which is why you'll see
buzzer beater shots.
Exactly.
Yep.
It brings the drama.
So this is
different way, and excited to see how this plays.
Strategic, maybe PUL going pretty far down the field and rolling out the far sideline to trap strike on the sideline. And it looks like we might have something interesting going on from defense, maybe a little zony potentially. So Carr is with the disc on that far sideline, finds Johnson. Oh, and Johnson tries to thread the needle there, but Wong gets her hand on it and slaps it down. So Rising just have about 20 yards to go to get another break. Wong here with the disc in the middle of the field. Nice around up to Hampton. Up to Fitzgerald. These unders are looking pretty easy. Oh, and Fitzgerald finds, a big spike there. That is Sarah Jung. They are pumped up.
Yeah, what a response from Rising. They just look really, really dominant right now. And it makes me wonder, because I will admit, I was unimpressed when I saw their game versus New York. New York brought out a skeleton squad. They're a powerhouse if you do look at just recruitment-wise. New York has the Cardenases. It has De Jesus, who's a phenomenal player. Just these incredible athletes. But Rising did not look like it was clicking. They didn't have their timing on resets. And so this is a completely different team. This is a team I'm really excited to see. I do think some of this is pressure. Some of this is mixed execution. I'd love to see Minnesota tighten it up and make me see how much of this is pressure, how much of this, can adjust. But this also might be the benefits of having already played your first game right here.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, one thing to note, that zone look that Rising threw out there worked pretty effectively. I think Strike only got 2 or 3 throws off before that throw was knocked down by Wong. So we might see that again in the future. Looks like this one is, again, a little poachy. So something a little bit different than person. We've got Oda Pollock here on the sideline. Now it looks like they folded into person a little more. Back to Daly.
Rising's doing a really good job of disconnecting right now the cutters from the handle set.
Oda Pollock finds Poyer downfield. It's a great throw, great grab by Poyer. Crowd goes wild. Poyer is a really unstoppable force downfield. She's been doing it for a couple years in the club scene with Dragon Thrust, and she's been doing it with the Strike now for 2 years.
Side note, I played pickup against her last week. It was brutal.
No fun.
It was so difficult.
You go to pickup expecting just a fun, easy time, and then that's your matchup. Yikes.
To my credit, I'm 36. I think I've got a decade on her. I think it was great throwing to her, but she is lightning fast, y'all.
Yep.
Yeah, watch her just acceleration. And note, the yellow line is out here. The cones are in. She had to not see that line. She had to toe that in. That was closer to the sideline than it looked.
And I actually think that yellow line is not the sideline. Looking at the posts, it's
a full 3, maybe 4 feet in.
Yeah, so I think Poyer was actually closer to the line than we initially thought. So good job maintaining the understanding of where the line was and also making sure to catch the disc. Sometimes it happens where you lose track just for a second when you're looking at the sideline and then you lose the disc. That's always sad. All right, Walby here with the pull. Let's see if Strike can get a break back and even up the score a little bit. Right up to the brick mark here. Wool's going to pick it up. And Wool with the lefty has been hitting those sort of high release lefty forehands a lot, just like that one. I think she heard me. Here's Cruz with the disc. And she finds Devlin. Zhao here in the middle of the field.
There's that inside backhand that they like so much.
Yeah, a lot of inside throws getting off here for the Rising. I think something that the defense from Strike might want to work on for the next quarter. We do have just about 30 seconds left in the quarter, so I want to keep an eye on that clock. Rising might be trying to manage that clock by never mind. By taking easy throws, I was going to say, and then of course they hit a hammer for the goal. So that is Zhao to Pellegrini for the goal. That's always fun to see.
A big hammer. I loved the momentum change of that. They had just been chiseling away at the interior, finding all the soft spots in that defense, doing exactly what they needed to, and then uncorked.
Yep.
Big hammer to the outside.
So there's about 17 seconds left in the quarter now. So what Strike is going to want to do here is make sure to maintain possession for those 16 seconds. After the clock goes off, they can take as many throws as they need to. And even if they do turn it over, then Rising will not get possession back. Great hammer there from Zhao. Yuga Zhao is a kind of well-known name, not only in the Boston Ultimate scene, but kind of USA Ultimate scene. She was on the U24 USA Women's National Team in 2019. She's a main player on Boston Brute Squad. Really exciting to see her play in person. I've watched a lot of streams that include her, and it's really cool to see it here in Minnesota.
That's somehow more impactful. And I will say, not that we are close. Sometimes streams let you get closer to the play.
Mm-hmm.
We're way up here in the box, y'all. But for all that, athletes, we've got some real athletes in women's ultimate right now, which is just so exciting.
Yep. Nice pull there from Jung, and Strike are going to start at around the 30-yard line. There's Bacon to Daly. Some poaching off of the off-handlers on both sides, it looks like. And Bacon finds Mexstroth. Nice around from Mexstroth, making it look really easy to Byers. Byers maybe wanted to pull the trigger with that upline throw, but not quite enough space. But then Bacon does find Mexstroth. Those two have played together for a long time. Oh, and Mexstroth says, I can throw a hammer too.
Poyer, take two. So what happened on that point, Rising was doing a really nice job of sagging into the lanes, and what broke that down, Mexstroth had a charging clear out, opening up a hole for other handlers to take that space, then came back under, and that was the big under that really got things moving and had the defenders back on their heels. And then look, just perfect form all the way over.
That's beautiful.
Pocket throw to Emma
And you can see Poyer is psyched about that. I would be too. And that is the end of the first quarter. So really good job time managing that clock. Is that Poyer's third goal? Either second or third. Strike have three goals, and Poyer has scored at least two of them. So she is a real big downfield threat for them. So we are going to take a quick break here during the break between the quarter. Portland 5, Minnesota Strike 3. We will be right back for quarter number 2.
And we are back with a quick word from our sponsor. VC is the exclusive official uniform sponsor of the Minnesota Strike. Get your official Strike jerseys, hats, and more at vcultimate.com/collections/Minnesota Strike. Thank you, VC Ultimate.
We also want to thank another sponsor. Brent Johnson, the Realty Guy, is a proud Ultimate parent and sponsor of Minnesota Strike. If you are in the market for buying a home or having a family who may be exploring buying and selling in the near future, Brent Johnson is experienced and does a high volume of transactions in the metro area. He's the ultimate supporter of the Ultimate community and also is the official realtor of the Minnesota Strike.
Can confirm, real good guy. Also, quick note from PUL. This is a live broadcast brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c3 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today.
All right. So we are back to start the second quarter here. We have a 5-3 lead for the Portland Rising. And it looks like the Rising are going to be pulling from that left side end zone. What are some things we saw in that first quarter, Kelsey? Maybe things that each team could improve on, or things we liked?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the defensive pressure. That was something that we had talked about was maybe lacking and that we were really excited to see. And I thought Rising did a good job. I thought Minnesota started with good pressure, but really looked back on their heels. I'd love to see a response. I do think that Portland looked so much more cohesive and explosive than their previous game. And so I think both teams with some interesting things to work on.
Oh, Bacon able to take advantage of that space with a tight catch. Bacon is finding Mex. Oh, and Mex is almost able to get there. Player is able to get her hands in there. And that's the second time we've seen Player disrupt a catch from Sarah Mexstroth. That's not easy to do. We got a replay here.
Erica Bacon airing out that huge throw. Mexstroth got a hand on it, got a second hand on it, and the rotation, I think, remember these are upwind throws.
Oh, crazy block there from Bacon. Wow, she's getting it right back. That was really impressive. And then just coolly, calmly walks over to pick the disc up. Hopefully we'll see a replay of that because that was pretty impressive.
Don't sleep on Erica Bacon.
Bacon finds Mexstroth this time. Mexstroth comes down with it. Although Player put in a lot of pressure there. Nice layout from Daly to keep possession. She'll find Mexstroth again.
Rupp activating.
Another hammer from Mexstroth. Looks like it's floating back a little bit, and Rouse is able to get her hands on it there. So would have liked to see a little more patience there from Strike, seeing as we're heading to that upwind end zone, but hopefully they'll get it back again.
Well, and I'm wondering if she was high stall count, if she had 2 reset options not available. But that's a really tough throw upwind, crossfield.
Yep.
It's almost a dual upwind.
Yep. Yeah. And here's Player with a big backhand looking for Chan. Oh, and it just hits her right in the red basket. She's going to want that one back. Again, that pressure from Mexstroth, she was right there. And kind of even if you don't get a hand on it, that sort of pressure can make things happen.
Yeah, watch her. She almost had it in the bread basket, but it was behind her. She was having to come back through it. Looked like the momentum carried her feet under, and some real frustration from her there.
Yep.
She really thought she could bring that one in.
Looks like a quick stoppage maybe for an injury. Yep, looks like there was an injury. Hampton is coming in, and Strike will take over on their end zone line. So Bacon's picking it up here. Looks like a sort of horizontal stack from Strike. And one of the handler defenders from Rising is poaching off and making that reset really difficult. We see Bacon put her arms up sort of in a V. That is for violation. So it looks like there was some sort of marking foul. They're talking it out now, and that observer is helping out.
While we're waiting for that, one more spot to our sponsor. If you are enjoying today's stream, please consider donating or scanning the QR code on your screen and at strikeultimate.com. Minnesota Strike is a nonprofit organization, and all donations go towards pay or play, travel costs, and bringing you high-quality live streams like this one today. Thank you for supporting the Strike.
So that throw looked like went right over the head of Byers, so Portland is going to get it back. This is Wilson on the sideline. She finds Sophie Knowles in the center of the field. And Hampton with the tall catch there right on the pylon. See if she can find a reset. Yep, there she finds Knowles. And Knowles with that sort of offhand throw. Oh, just a little far for Chan. Yeah, that's going to be one they both want back probably. So Strike with another opportunity here. Daly is going to pick it up and bring it to that corner. And Henkin is forcing her towards that sideline. So with a little bit of poaching, we're going to want to see if they can get it around. But that throw to Byers is knocked away by Rouse. That's some nice defensive pressure there from Rouse.
So one of the things I want to highlight, I was noticing this earlier on in this point, and I'm definitely getting it now, is the matchup of Chan, number 8. The coaches described her as fiery. She took the Mexstroth matchup. Now she's had the Bacon matchup. And just her, more diminutive height, but explosive, fiery, wide open shot.
That is Knowles to Rouse for the goal. Really open on that open side there. That could be just a factor of, that was a long point. Players are tired.
Definitely not clean ultimate, but we are seeing, I think, some of the resilience both teams were interested in. We're seeing some of this capacity, but we're also just seeing a really high number of errors. And I think that's not uncommon this early in the season, especially with, we'll say, the environmental factors that are coming into play. But still, it's not rainy.
Yep.
The wind probably isn't over 10 miles an hour. They really need to be able to execute higher than this. And this is something that I'll especially want to see as we go into the second half. When they have a chance to really catch their breath and gather, I would love to see a much cleaner second half.
Yep.
I know we're not there yet, but I'm projecting.
Yep. Things to think about for the future.
Absolutely.
One thing I noticed, too, is that Rouse had what looks like a brace or a cast on her right wrist. It doesn't seem to be affecting her at all. The throws look great. The catches look great. But I'm wondering what sort of effect that might have on her playing here. So nice rolling pull there from Rising. Johnson slides to stop it from going too far away. Wow, really nice pressure there from Johnson. But Carr is able to hang on to it. And again, we have a little bit of zony poachiness from the Rising.
That was Minnesota's third or fourth really close call. I think Rising has absolutely been excelling at the polls. And I'd love Minnesota to maybe respect them a little bit more.
Yep. So it looks like some poachiness kind of making those resets really difficult. Johnson does find Carr. And then that finds a nice slice through to Fireside Ostergaard. Back to Johnson. And Fireside Ostergaard is going to find Carr, who swings it all the way over to Semper.
I can't decide if this is a cup or if it looks more like there are multiple tiers of players that are just latching as people come through. I really like its flexibility.
It's making that around reset really difficult. That's usually a throw-in zone that defenses are totally fine allowing because you're moving backwards, essentially. But this zone is making it pretty difficult. Annika Chan is on those around throws. Nice downfield to Allegra Johnson-McKee. And there's Johnson-McKee to Monshine. Monshine is going to bring a lot of energy to this team, both on field and off.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that we had talked about because one of the other players that we discussed and hadn't highlighted yet that's no longer featured on this team was Nariah Bell-Sims, who you talk Robin Finnick, you talk Nariah Bell-Sims. Those are energy contributors, not just, to plays on the field, that they absolutely both do that, but also they bring the energy and I would say the positive thoughts and momentum and just can absolutely pick up a team who's going to step into that space. And Monshine was one of those players that we said who could fill that role.
Yep. Shout out to Allegra Johnson-McKee. This is her first season on Minnesota Strike. This is her first game and gets the assist in her first half. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, and that was another thing that Minnesota talked about is this infusion of new talent that they weren't necessarily expecting. And, both Strength and Poison, they've got to integrate it, but very excited to have that luxury of new, and exciting players to be integrating in.
Alicia Carr with the pull. Kind of drifts over to the sideline. So we've got Wall with the disc right in the middle. She's going to hit Cruz. Here's Erin Ray. Nice around. Will Devlin track it down? Nope, that's a little far. So let's see if Strike can capitalize. Semper runs up to try to pick it up. Takes a second to breathe, make sure her teammate can be ready for her. Julia Hill with the disc on the sideline. Oh, nice run through there from O'Connell. Looks like Wood hesitated just a little bit. She wasn't sure if Hill was going to throw it. And with that second of hesitation, O'Connell was able to get through. Good to see her back on the field after taking an injury earlier.
And that's where a lot of the Strike errors have also been, of throws slightly not out in front or coming a fraction late and not in timing. So that'll be something that they can definitely adjust and do better very quickly. That's something they will be able to execute.
Pellegrini here with the disc. Finds Hankin. Sorry, that is Devlin. Oh, so close. Wall with a nice layout. Again, that throw just a little bit beyond sort of a casual dishy that went too far, but Wall definitely gave it her all. Semper taking a second. Looks like we are calling a timeout. So getting maybe a different line on for Strike to try to punch in this break. Could be an important one. We're going to take another look here at that run through D from O'Connell. So Hill here with the disc. Looks like Wood just a tiny hesitation, and O'Connell's able to capitalize. It's really impressive defense on O'Connell to sort of stay right on her hip and get in there when there's that little bit of hesitation from offense. High IQ play, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's one of the things we said this Portland team really has in spades. They didn't bring in a lot of new players this year. They've got a very seasoned team. And even the one or two players that they did highlight, so coaches mentioned Annika Chan and Shirley Wall as being two of the youngest, newest players. Ironically enough, though, they said they provide stability. How do you love that? And I think that speaks so much to the youth scene and how strong that's become, that players can be in their early 20s and be thoroughly seasoned and be in a place where in an elite squad like this, they can be providing stability. I love that.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, we are back in play here. Bacon with a disc in the center of the field. Looking for a reset here, finds Daly with that offhand throw. Looking a little stagnant downfield. And then Bacon finds Byers. Oh, that looks like a hand block there from Rouse. That's a great play.
Really nice switch, though. Byers got that hand block, but immediately transitioned to defense and picked up the person going deep.
Knowles is going to hit a cross-field forehand to Rouse. Well, that's a really good response to the timeout from Portland Rising. They get that turnover and then hit a goal pretty quickly after. So, well done.
Emery Odopalek was in the area for that one, couldn't quite close on it. I think Rising has done a really excellent job of seeing these and taking the shots early, throwing out into space. I mean, they are winning the Huck game, that's for sure.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, Knowles did make that throw look easy. It's not that easy. It's that like cross-field forehand with a little bit of wind and making sure to hit their offender right where they're going. So that's really impressive stuff from Rising. We're going to see that's a replay of the hand block. Well done there from Rouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Byers usually will move her mark a little bit more. I think that was just so delayed trying to get that inside throw out.
Yep. All right, so we've got just over 4 minutes here left in the second quarter. Sarah Jung is going to be starting off that pull. So it looks like between Sarah Jung and Liv Player, Portland Rising really has some good pullers here. So we'll see if they can get down in front of it just like they have for the last few and try to challenge that first throw. We'll see if Strike can sort of respect that first throw a little bit more. That one lands just inbounds. And again, Portland does a really good job of getting down there. Bacon does take advantage, though, and she's going to hit Byers deep. What a beautiful throw. Wow.
Classic. That is classic Minnesota Strike. I cannot tell you how thrilled I am to see Erica Bacon back on this team, because the timing, the aggression, knowing that Rising has been charging down the field, taking that up line, the momentum throw into the deep cut, and it looked fast. It looked so fast, but Byers is so fast.
Yep, and so what Bacon did there is she saw the defenders coming down really quickly, and she kind of took advantage of that. They were going in one direction. She went in the opposite direction. She got that throw right to the open space. She's in power position, hits Byers on that beautiful sort of inside-y, a little bit forehand. Oh, that is just perfect.
One-handed. Look at the confidence.
So casual. She is allowed to be that casual. She is that good of a deep threat.
Okay, now Rising, respond.
Mm-hmm.
Rising has been controlling the tempo of this game outside of maybe the first point.
Yep.
But that's a really big momentum builder for Minnesota.
Yep.
Rising has to stomp back down to really close out this quarter and this first half and not let Minnesota walk their way back in.
Here's Cruz in the middle of the field. Trying to get that around. Nice mark there from Randall. Oh, just a little too far. And that was kind of throwing a little backhand from Devlin on the forehand side. Those are a little hard to control sometimes. So that one just went a little bit past. You can see Devlin tapping her chest to signal, my bad. So here's Monchan. This is going to be a big break if Strike is able to punch it in. And that one's not going to work, unfortunately. So Monchan's looking for that reset, and Pellegrini playing some really good reset defense on Walby, making it so that she wasn't able to get it off.
I'm kind of surprised that that throw went up to Walby. Like, I'd rather see her clear out and present another option.
Looked like the stall count was getting a little bit high, but we'll see if Strike can get another stop here. Wool with the disc. Looking to Pellegrini again. That high release lefty forehand is really working for her. She finds Cruz in the middle of the field. Nice inside from Cruz. That's a close grab from Zhao. She looks like she caught it and then hit the ground and it dislodged it. Jane Cook is streaking deep. This is something we see from her pretty often, but it does look like Zhao is taking an injury. Probably hit the ground pretty hard. It dislodged the disc from her hand, so just taking a quick breather. She looks okay. But Rising is going to step someone in.
A little bit of antics. I don't know if you can see corner of your field. We had someone turning cartwheels and handsprings. Tell you what, folks, I love that you're joining us on this stream, but you are missing out because the presence here in the stadium itself is electric. This is one of the most full Strike games that I've had the privilege of being at. And one of the things we're hearing is like this pulsing stomp when big plays are happening.
You might even be able to hear it on the broadcast.
It's possible. We've got good mics.
So that was Johnson trying to hit. Monchan, unfortunately, just goes right through her hands. So really want to see Strike clean up those, especially those D-line offensive possessions, because they're going to need to get a couple of breaks here to get back into this game. So Rising is going to take that dump over to Cruz. Devlin has the disc now, marked by Steph Wood, who came in for Randall off of the injury. Nice grab under pressure from Cruz. Zadeklik putting her body on the line for that mark.
Yeah, Zadeklik really putting a lot of pressure, enough so that she cycles out and leaves the handle space for different matchups.
Here's Liv Player, hits Ray for the goal.
And after all that pressure, that last bit, again, looking so smooth and almost too easy in the red zone. If I'm Minnesota, do you start? I love the concept of more defending the line. Like, you have nothing to lose when you're in the red zone. It's already so much more likely that they're going to score. Why not defend more aggressively? Why not flash out and make them go more over the top? Especially in this upwind, downwind game, wind is still gusting. You know, yes, they've executed some over the tops, but they haven't hit everything.
And with that particular one, it looked like Jane Cook was really pursuing the disc when it was thrown to Player. And because she sort of pursued it, went beyond it, she wasn't able to get her mark on. And then that throw on the break side was really easy for Player. So that's kind of what led to a pretty easy score.
And that's a really tough call to make. Do you slow up and contain on the mark, or do you go for the D?
Yep.
If you're Jane Cook, you go for the D.
Yep.
She's so explosive.
Yeah.
But that is the risk that you run.
Yep. Yeah, would love to see, particularly Jane Cook, Danielle Byers, some really explosive players here on the Strike team. Would love to see some of that firepower, maybe in this point or some points in the next half. We do have just over a minute left in this second quarter, so same deal with the first quarter. When the clock runs out, the next score or turnover is going to be the end of the quarter. Good job with Bacon again, taking advantage of the defense running down really hard in that opposite direction. Rupp is going to try to get it over two defenders to Byers, but Player is able to come down with it.
And that was really good help defense on Rising's part.
Player finds Knowles. Knowles looked like she wanted to get that deep, but Oda Pollock is able to step in the way. Looks like maybe a timeout call once again.
So Knowles, one of the things she did, she feinted that really big huck look. Her player jumps over, flashes, and it gives her the inside that they prefer. Like, their bread and butter when they're trying to maximize their defensive conversion is just slicing in through that inside.
So if you're enjoying today's stream, please consider donating by scanning the QR code on your screen in just a moment, or at strikeultimate.com. Minnesota Strike is a nonprofit organization, and all donations go towards player pay, travel costs, and bringing you high-quality live streams just like this one. Thank you for supporting the Strike. All right, so we're getting back into action here. Wool's going to pick it up. And they're definitely going to be monitoring the clock. This is kind of a nice timeout call with Rising, since we just have 25 seconds left in the quarter. They want to make sure they close it out strong and put another goal in. Big defensive opportunity for Strike to see if they can make a stop here. Nice cut from Devlin, shaking her defender. Oh, good play there by Hendrickson, I think that is. Sorry, that was Monshine. Almost gets the hand on the disc again. Wool here in the middle of the field. Strike is really trying to put pressure on it to make it so that Strike gets the disc back. But foul call here on Jane Cook from Aaron Ray. They do the hand signals again. Those crossed arms means foul, and then palms up is uncontested. So Rising will take it back. There's 5 seconds left in the quarter. So Rising's content just to hold on to it until the quarter expires, which has just happened. So Rising now will get until that pass. And that is the end of the half. So teams get a little bit of time to sort of regroup and talk about some strategic items before the start of the second half.
All right, so lots for us to think about. Lots for these teams to figure out. How are they going to adjust? How are they going to respond? We're going to take a break here at the half, but do welcome you to join us again. And consider, come out next time, come out in person. Come see us. Fly up here if you have to. We'd love to see you at a Strike game. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Strike has clearly risen to the top of the Midwestern division. We're starting to really hit our stride, I think.
Run through D by Sarah Monshine.
That's a great throw. Fire's able to just coast out. It's put on a platter for her.
Every lesson that we've learned along the way, put it together and just be the best we can be.
Planek has the height here, and she's able to come down with it.
Big under, Dreen streaking towards that open side, and the cartwheel spike. We have Raisin shooting to Jane Cook, just sitting out there, and there we have it.
And Steph Wood with the quick shot across the top. No other star power needed. Helm coming through with the block on the last throw.
D-line Helm, that's what we like to see. Helm's been huge in some big moments for Strike over the past couple of games. And we have an incredible play. Dreen looking for Fennig on the give and go. Bounces off of Fennig's hands during the bid, and Katie Godfrey is able to clean it up. Another great grab here from Fennig, and then dime hammer to the back corner. Wood able to just run onto it. Seems like Fennig has inspired a new generation of Strike hammer throwers in this game.
Oh, but
And that's an Emma Peasley hand block, everybody. Peasley says no.
Out to Mattamore, and she takes a big shot. It's intended for number 44, Anastasia Foster, but Emma Poyer is there with the big D. Hear those stands rumble. The fans are feeling it.
layout D from Sadie Redding to get it back.
Right.
Oh, great layout from Sarah Monshine. Amazing grab.
And shooting it, Baker's there. Randall
with the D.
coming in for the D. A great layout D from Robin Fenig.
All right, folks, we are back for some more action here at Seafoam Stadium, Minnesota Strike versus Portland Rising. We are going to head down to the field with Laura Osterlund, who has Minnesota Strike coach Genghis Phillip, for an interview.
I'm here with Coach Genghis Phillip. We're down first half, maybe not as we wanted to go. What do you think we could have done better in that first half?
So it's less about what we could have done better overall and more about execution of inches. If you remember, there were 2 layouts in the end zone that went off our team's hands. We catch those, plus the way that the half and we get possession at the end of, or at the beginning of the second quarter. If we had been there, we'd be tied right now. So it's less about some grand strategy change and more about the execution and the gelling that this team has been doing in practice, but game time's a little bit different.
And then what do you think adjustments we're going to make going into that second half?
Portland's got an incredible amount of break throws off on us, and so being able to shut those down, maybe even bait them with some players who can get that catch up on them, that's what we're really looking for here, is to play more fundamental ultimate in the most coach speak answer ever.
So you're talking about how we're still trying to gel, how this is our first game of the season. How do you think you're going to help encourage players to do that on the field?
So what we've been trying to do is give some identity to our lines. We have Rain and Bolt on defense. We've got our O-line, and we're trying to make sure that they're getting that time together both on the field and off the field so that there's a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of competitiveness in the team, because we have huge competitors on this team. And what, as coaches, we need to do is make sure that we're focusing that where it's going to get the biggest results, and they're going to lift each other every time one of them gets better. The other ones want to respond.
All right. And there you have it. Again, this is Genghis Phillip. Back to you in the booth.
Thanks so much, Laura. Awesome to hear a little bit of wisdom from Genghis on the coaching side. So we've had a really exciting first half so far between the Rising and the Strike. Kelsey, I'd love to hear from you. What are some changes we maybe want to see happen in the second half?
I mean, for me, Minnesota stands out as primarily being execution-based. They're such small changes, but they're right now making those errors so consistently, which is really frustrating, especially from that coaching standpoint. But yeah, so they're underthrowing, overthrowing. Their resets are coming a little bit late. They're not looking to them maybe early enough. Just all of these small things about their timing just feels slightly off, which makes when it is on that much more exciting. I'd love to see that, just the light to shine on all of these big horsepower athletes their coach was talking about just there. For Portland, honestly, I think they need to keep their momentum going. They are really in the driver's seat at this point. They've shown a lot of different looks. I'm really enjoying this zone defense they've been playing. I think zone maybe undersells it. It arguably could be called a junk just because it's not in that traditional zone space, but it's very good. They're making Minnesota have to work very hard for little gain, which is exactly what a defense should do. And quite frankly, they're executing not with perfection, but at a higher rate than Minnesota right now. So they need to keep it up, keep their energy high, which is always challenging as a traveling team. You don't have the luxury of the full depth of your roster to lean on. And quite frankly, there are a couple people that, are notable on their roster that aren't even here today. So I think they're really having a phenomenal showing.
Seeing some nice highlights here on the halftime screen. Love to see some more kind of flashy plays here in the second half. We definitely had a number of them, but this is one example, that awesome throw from Bacon. But, I mean, we come to watch the PUL for, the really good fundamentals these players all know, but also for the amazing catches, amazing throws, amazing blocks. So keeping an eye out for kind of who's going to step up for the second half.
Yeah, there's definitely some elite capability, and we'd love to see that on the screen. So we are going to take a moment to highlight one of our sponsors. So the Black Heart of St. Paul is a queer soccer bar in the heart of Midway, a bar that brings people together for a drink, drag, or an ultimate watch party. The Black Heart of St. Paul is also the official post-game party location for all Minnesota Strike home games. Thank you, Black Heart of St. Paul.
Also, check out a bar of their own in South Minneapolis, the Midwest's first sports bar to exclusively show women's sports, including the away games for your Minnesota Strike. We're really excited. It's a new spot here in the Twin Cities in South Minneapolis. Personally, I will say I'm thrilled that they have gone into business here in the Twin Cities, so can't wait to check them out, especially watching those Strike away games.
Absolutely. I think with the timing of Caitlin Clark, there has never been more of a moment to celebrate women's sports.
Yep.
And we're just living in this renaissance moment of that.
Yep. All right, so Courtney Walby here is getting ready to release that pull to start off our second half. Looks like Rising is starting on offense, going in that slight upwind direction. And here we go. Nice long pull here, sort of over to the sideline. Wool's going to pick it up and center it to Devlin. Nice layout on the mark there from Zadeklik. Here's Zhao. Nice to see her again back on the field after taking an injury earlier. That throw is going to hit Cruz in the hands, but not able to hang on to it. So Strike has a break opportunity right off the bat here. Johnson finds Monshine. Monshine's going to release for Helm downfield, and Helm grabs it. That is a break for Strike. What a great way to start off the second half.
That is beautiful, and that was exactly the hard-hitting response. That's a good momentum builder here in this first half. So now we get to see Rising. Do they respond? How do they respond? Minnesota can be an absolute freight train, especially if they can get out of their own way.
And that's a really perfect start for that second half. You can see Monshine is celebrating with a big spike there from Helm. Both of those players have a lot of energy. Nice chest spike there between Monshine and Jane Cook. That only took 30 seconds off the clock. So that's a really, really awesome way to start the second half, and hopefully Strike can maintain that momentum. For Rising, they're going to be looking to sort of calm the ship, get a nice easy hold, kind of get things to how they were in the first half.
One of the things I'd love to see, you noticed, was it at the pressure. She's been very consistently pressuring the reset space. If we can get kind of that synergy of those multiple pressure points, that's been an area where Rising has looked very, very smooth, had lots of time to think about what shots they're taking and executing them well. That would be an excellent way for the defense to really build for this Minnesota team.
Alicia Carr with a nice pull. Jean Wong's going to pick it up right in the center of the field. Finds Fitzgerald on the undercut up to Hampton. Nice jumping grab there from Hampton. Looks like maybe a forced middle here from Strike. Oh, Carr with a big layout trying to get that block. We have Palacio up to Fitzgerald for that goal. What a layout from Carr on the defensive pressure.
And that forced middle was exactly what I was kind of chewing on in the first half. We did hear from Minnesota that that's something that they would be airing out this game. We haven't seen it in all the points, especially we haven't seen it on a turn. It's been something they've done from the pull. But one of the things that you have to do is you can't then let players go around it or to the outside. You can't let them throw through the inside to the outside. It really just opens up the underbelly and weakness. And you see there that outside to outside, when you're forced middle, it's exposed. You can't let it go.
It's a really nice touch forehand from Palacio. Calmly just kind of puts it into the end zone for a streaking Fitzgerald. That's a really nice response from Rising, right? After that quick score from Strike, they respond with a really quick score too. And the spike as well from Rising. They have some pretty good celebrations going on. I'm impressed. Player is going to be pulling it here for Rising. And Bacon picks it up and hits Daly, getting some yards right off the bat, which is a nice thing to see. Finds Byers. Nice cut from Wood. Great timing.
Loved her setup.
Wood's on the sideline there, marked by Knowles. See if she can get it off the sideline there. Nice cut there from Bacon to kind of juke open. She throws it right over the head of the defender and finds Mextroth. Bacon and Mextroth, a classic Minnesota connection.
Yeah, that was much smoother. So that's now 2 responses. We've got a break. First one in a while for the strike. Then we've got that clean offensive point. This already feels like a new team.
Yep.
And a little bit more to the capacity of what Minnesota could be.
Yep. Yeah, good on Bacon here. You can see her sort of taking advantage of the defender sort of having their back turned. Sarah Mextroth is a really talented player who is actually selected to play on the USAU World Championships team in Australia this year. Really excited for her. She's going to get to represent the U.S. on the mixed team, and we'll be watching her eagerly from Minnesota and from around the U.S., I'm sure.
I think one of my favorite things about Mextroth playing in mixed is I love watching her sky guys.
It is pretty cool. It is fun to see her playing in the PUL, playing women's games. She also plays women's in club with Raleigh Phoenix. So she has a little bit of experience with both. So Rising here with the disc. Devlin and Wool are playing catch in the middle of the field. Nice pressure downfield from Strike to sort of force those resets. Nice around backhand from Wool. Up to Zhao.
I'm going to shout out the crowd energy, especially with the defense on the team. My feet are shaking right now from how enthusiastic the crowd is.
Aaron Ray has the disc here and finds Pellegrini. And here's Devlin again. Finds Zhao, marked by Monshine, and it sort of looks nice around. Oh, and there's Jane Cook with that run through D. A run through D on Aaron Ray, again, one of those really power players that we are talking about. Great block there from Jane Cook.
I think the fans will take credit for part of Cook's fire.
Johnson trying to hit Cook downfield and a little bit of contact.
I say this has been a very physical matchup between Ray and Cook. They're both muscular, very physically, used to winning their matchups, and so an exciting duo to watch as they battle back and forth for the space around the disc.
Indeed. Here's Zhao with the disc. Sort of a straight-up mark from Helm, not wanting to let those downfield throws off. She finds Devlin as a reset, who hits Ray. Couple Rising cutters streaking to the open side. They both end up clearing. Ray finds the around to Cruz. Another bid there from Johnson. Gets back up and reestablishes that force. And Rising, again, being very patient here. Looks like there was maybe going to be a reset to Zhao, but Zhao stopped running as soon as that throw was released. So a bit of a miscommunication. So let's see if Strike can take advantage of this one.
And one of the first red zone miscues that we'd seen so far from Rising, and some of the best pressure so far from Minnesota.
Zadeklik with the disc on the sideline. She finds Courtney Walby, and we have Jane Cook going deep. That throw is way up in the air. Let's see if Cook can find it. Nope, unfortunately not able to find that one. Again, lots of pressure from that defense. That throw maybe was a little bit loftier than Walby had meant for it to be.
Yeah, going upwind, you've got to have the right edge on it.
And here's Devlin looking for Pellegrini. Can she catch up to it? Oh, great grab. A little bit out of the end zone, but really wonderful catch there from Pellegrini. Looks like she's got Zhao open on that break side and hits her in the end zone.
And what a quick change of events. Minnesota really charging up the line, had that option, had Jane Cook going deep, didn't have the right throw, but then Rising able to so effectively respond. And that is what I'm respecting so much about them in this game. is that they are just pouring so much energy, really, into their transitions. I'm very impressed by that.
So let's take another look at that replay. Really nice huck here from Kelsey Devlin.
She got, for the amount of distance it covered, she still got touch in it, that it had that bit of sit at the end.
Yeah, beautiful throw. One thing I saw a little bit earlier in the replays during halftime was a celebration that looked like it included Pellegrini blowing out candles on the disc. So I wonder if it's her birthday today. If it is, that's a great catch to celebrate your birthday.
I'm always a big fan of the tea time toast. Bring everybody in. Let's celebrate. I will say I've already aired my age out on this live stream, but I'm of an era that was largely pre-celebration. It just wasn't as prominent. And so I really haven't flexed that creative muscle. I can make up a killer haiku in halftime.
All right, strike here on offense. Daly with the disc. She's going to find Poyer near the sideline. Up to Byers, who nice way to come to the disc. The defense was definitely hunting for a block there. Little bit of an overthrow to Daly, so Rising will take over here.
And that's small spaces. Effective defense from Rising, but also not the best setup in terms of reset cuts. You really want a bigger window than that.
Slight miscue here from Rising. Johnson's not able to hold on to it, so striker going to take back over. McKella to Daly to Wood down the field. Finds Poyer.
Just hitting open hands here.
Nice cut from Mextroth to sort of juke out her defender.
Though the coach in me is screaming, swing it!
Bacon to Mextroth for the score. Those two have played together for a long time.
Classic times two. You mentioned that Mextroth currently plays for Raleigh Phoenix, but a long time feature on Dragon Thrust out of Minnesota, for whom Bacon has also played. So they've had many a nationals run together.
That is the third goal for Mextroth and third assist for Bacon. So they are connecting on all cylinders here in this game. Clearly a lot of that chemistry that we were talking about earlier.
The chemistry and also the ability to see 2 or 3 cuts out of Mextroth watching Bacon reverse, staying, timing, and then taking the step she needed, so she was just in time with Bacon's throw.
So a nice hold here from Minnesota Strike. Again, they're going to see if they can punch in a break going upwind. Rising is holding on to a nice comfortable 2-3 goal lead, and they'll want to keep on holding on to that to keep this game comfy for them.
I will say there are some games where the upwind, downwind is a noticeable advantage. I haven't really seen that be the case. I think part of that is a credit to just the sheer capabilities of the throwers across the board. I mean, I've called out the errors. You know we're seeing those. But that seems to be more a question of timing and player versus, not being able to throw in the wind.
Oh, great grab there from Zhao. And gets up immediately, throws that flick. Another awesome layout there from Cruz. Rising is not afraid to put their bodies on the line. There's some of the firepower we were talking about.
So they're turning this whole point into a highlight reel.
Cruz back over to Wool. Nice around there.
Now, the cut wasn't there, but they're doing an excellent job of cutting back and forth across.
So close from Zadeklik. And so close there from Johnson. Great job of Johnson to get up and kind of reestablish the mark, but that is going to be a goal for Rising. Nice patience there. So that is Wool to Devlin.
It is really, really tough when you're that close to getting the D that you do, in some ways, leave, the end zone exposed. But at the same time, all of those efforts, they do accumulate. And one of the things that I'll be interested to see, but can they get to that point quickly enough, is do the handlers for Rising start to flinch a little bit. Like, they know that pressure's coming. They know they cannot afford to slow down. And so does that mean that they're maybe running things through that they don't have the right read on? Like, it can be impactful. But it does leave you exposed.
Yep. Yeah.
Pros and cons, always.
The more times you lay out on those points, one of them will connect. And these are players who are not afraid to throw their bodies around, like we've been seeing from both teams. So even though they haven't quite gotten the layouts on the defensive side, it's going to happen sooner or later.
Well, remember, first game. Portland's already up 1. you've got to leave your feet. And does this just mean that they, lightening up next game? I would love to see that.
Good lightning pun for the Minnesota Strike. We love it.
Thanks. Love you too.
Mexstroth finding a streaking Poyer, and that's going to be a really quick hold.
I
love to see it.
I was not convinced that she was in, and it was really scary when I thought she was straddling the line, tossed it up, but I guess she was looking at the observer.
Yep. There are a lot of lines on this field. It can be a little hard to tell, but Poyer's confident and she is correct.
In that moment for me. But Poyer's third goal now?
Yeah.
I mean, she has had the secret sauce going deep.
Yeah, she's had a lot of numbers here in this game. Exciting to see.
And you didn't see it as much from that angle. You saw it a little bit earlier in the clip, but look at that she does come from shallow. Like when she started that cut, it was where there wasn't a lot, like not a lot of help could go with because of how active everything else. She's had good timing on when she's making those deep looks as well.
And one thing I think Poyer does really well is just sort of losing her defender with raw speed. I think that's something that a few of the cutters on strike can do. Of course, there's a lot of raw speed on Rising as well, so it's a good matchup. But
so you heard me complain about that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I've had to mark her too. It is not fun. All right, so Rising, you're going to be going downwind here. Pellegrini with the disc. Nice find, sort of an inside forehand. And there's Zhao and Pellegrini playing catch.
And we are seeing, watch, look, here's the force middle. You've got to attack the inside. You've got to attack that like right down the gullet. But the cutters have to move. The cutters have to adjust, make that space. And the biggest thing will be, excellent switch there, first strike to contain.
A little bit of contact there from Semper. Looks like she was trying to get that poach block on Pellegrini, but gets a lot of body there instead of disc. Looks like there's going to be a foul call. We'll see a quick replay of that play. Yeah, so it's definitely more contact than we would like to see, but looks like everyone's okay, and that's what is most important. So off of the quick stoppage, there is Wool to O'Connell for a Rising goal.
Yeah, almost anticlimactic. Sometimes a stoppage can be an advantage to the defense. It lets them set up, kind of slows momentum. But also, if you get the first step, you're wide open, and that was a really good finish by Rising. They are continuing to keep this score separated. Strike just not quite able to claw back in.
Yep, it's a kind of comfortable margin for them. I think if Strike is able to punch in a break here at the end of the third quarter or in the fourth quarter, it's going to put a little bit more pressure on Rising.
So I realize we're going to an offensive point, but I want the viewers at home to be thinking about, because I don't know how many of you will have seen or played Force Middle. It's relatively newer in terms of a defensive strategy, but some of the keys are you have to contain on the marks. You're alternating your marks, pushing people back towards the middle of the field, but then the front defender on the stack has to front the defenders, or rather the cutters. They have to be in front and not let things just chip away at the inside, and that usually involves a lot of team defense and switching.
Communication.
So, yep, exactly. Keep that in mind. It's tough when it looks so ugly when you're doing it for the first time, but it can be incredibly effective.
Bacon finding Byers in the middle of the field. Looks like Rupp is poached there, so good to see her hit that. And then Byers is immediately streaking deep. Rupp finds Poyer. And back to Daly. Nice big gainer to Mexstroth. Nice to see this patience here from the Strike. Not rushing any looks. Ooh, nice grab from Poyer. She caught it as she was falling down. Up to Wood. And Wood hits Byers. That's a nice, easy hold once again.
Yeah, relatively smooth. A couple saves there, lower throws. But again, no turns. That's exactly what they needed. We want to see more of it.
And that only took about 40 seconds off the clock. So,
yeah, they need more of those. Efficiency is going to be just so important because you mentioned it, clock. Clock is, quite frankly, almost a bigger enemy here than the Rising.
Nice sort of trust throw there from Wood. She knows that Byers is going to come down with it.
And I thought she did a really good job. Watch again. She sets it out into space.
That's hard to do when you're doing like a round break throw around your mark. It's not easy.
Yeah, especially on the backhand side. God, look at this crowd. You've heard me hyping it all game. And there they are.
Lots of good signage from the crowd, too. I saw a Chelsea one for Chelsea Semper.
Love that.
That's pretty good. I saw one that said Megan Randall goes to bed at 9:30 p.m. She is a mom of twins, so, like, understandable.
Yeah, I feel you so bad on that one right now.
All right, we're back in action here. Is Wool up to Zhao? Nice big fakes from Zhao, making her mark move around. That one bounces right off Zhao's fingertips, so this is a really good opportunity for Strike to hit that break. So Monshine is finding Zedeklik. Oh, just a little too far. Great execution there from Zedeklik to hit the ground, but just couldn't come down with it. Maybe would have liked to see a little bit of taking a breath to try to punch in that break. It's just so exciting when you're so close to the goal and you have someone streaking.
It's tough when it's a short field, but at the same time, this is their key currency right now. Their defensive conversion has been very low. And had they it's tempting, the fast transitions. But I agree. I very much would have loved to see them contain.
Yep. Pellegrini finding Zhao on the upline. Oh, and looked like Monshine got a hand on that, but there was a foul called. We see those hand signals from the players, which are very helpful for us to know what's going on. So it looks like Monshine maybe got a piece of the disc before it was out of Zhao's hand, or maybe got a piece of her hand. So Zhao finds that nice around to Pellegrini, who continues the break to Devlin.
If you haven't already, note that Zhao is a lefty. It's so nice to have her on that outside lane because she just leans out, gets the around.
That is Wool to Cruz. Again, those high release lefty forehands from Wool have been so effective today.
Yeah, very on point. And in the downwind game that we have still, that's a beautiful throw because it just sits down in exactly to the spot where she wants.
I'm going to see a quick replay here. Monshine picks it up and sends it out right away, and so close from Zedeklik. She really gives it her all. You can see at the end there being like, ugh, I was so close. So tough one for Strike. Really needing to punch in that break to kind of bring it back into a slightly closer game, but we'll get it next time. Really, again, good patience from Rising to sort of march down the field.
Yeah, they've played within themselves. They've had, look at it, good spirits, smiles. And so very much achieving that key to their game, that resilience through joy, it's all over them.
Yep, absolutely. Here's another live player pull. And Michaela Daly will go over and catch it. Awesome to see that. Nice big centering pass to Bacon. Up to Byers. Bacon really has been sort of the central O-line handler for these O-lines here for Strike, with Daly and Rupp working with her. Nice grab from Mexstroth. Up to Byers. And Poyer is quite open in that underspace there. She's going to find Rupp on that around. Way to run that down.
Yeah, Rupp made a good adjustment there.
Oh boy, nice grab from Mexstroth. Looks like player was trying to get a layout D there. A lot of contact there, so it looks like a foul called, no contest. Glad everyone is safe.
Yeah, we are seeing no lack of energy or pressure or effort here from these teams.
Bacon sort of throws it up there for Mexstroth. Mexstroth lands right on the line.
Very much trusting the height of Mexstroth there.
Unfortunate miscommunication there between Mexstroth and Bacon. We were talking about how good their chemistry is. Doesn't work all the time. So Rising here now has the full field to go. Oh, and a nice block from Poyer. She was with Hampton pretty much the whole time and was able to get her hand on that. So way to get it back for her team. We do have 40-ish seconds left in the quarter, so if Strike can maintain possession for those 40 seconds, that will be a goal for them. So here's Wood with the disc in the center of the field, finds Bacon.
Strike did a good job of initiating play out of that stoppage.
Bacon to Rupp with the score. So, you know, if they can't maintain possession until the end of the quarter, scoring a goal, that works too.
And here, if they're able to put enough defensive pressure on, that counts. I mean, that counts. On the other end, Portland can add another to their spread if they're able to punch it in here at this last 20 seconds. That's a tough call. Do you maintain possession, or if you've got the wide open shot, do you take it?
I feel like you got it. You gotta score. If the scoring the goal is an option, but it's hard.
I will be honest, I lean a little bit the other way. I think, yes, they need to score, but at the same time, even 10 seconds more off that clock, scoring in sub 15, way, way harder than scoring in 20.
It's true. It's true. And I mean, this just goes to show that there's so many different strategies that you can use that can be effective in various ways. So
20 seconds, you can still take 6, 7 throws. Like, there's a luxury of time of the ability to move it down the field in chunks versus having to move it very quickly so you even have a shot on the goal.
Yeah, but the Rising will get to take the disc down the field if the clock expires.
That's fair.
So,
I need to be reminded of that.
Yeah, slightly different rule for this third quarter. Then fourth quarter is going to be a little bit different. Cruz here with the disc. Looking for a reset. Carr is playing some really good reset defense, and that is what's going to result in that turnover. And
cheers to the Minnesota defense for taking away all the under options.
Yeah,
that's been Rising's game, and that's the first point I really saw them be effective.
So even though that was the end of the quarter, Strike doesn't get to try to get that break. That's a win for them. Not allowing that Rising goal means that they're going into this fourth quarter only down 2 instead of down 3.
Yeah, that was the best looking pressure I've seen from them really since the first point or 2 points of the game.
Yep.
I would love to see that be the tone for the fourth quarter. You can absolutely claw back 3. That can happen in a heartbeat. And that can happen so fast.
We'll be starting on offense for this fourth quarter, I believe. So exciting stuff going into this fourth quarter. We'll see if Minnesota Strike can sort of get back into the game, maybe tie it up here for an exciting end. We're going to head to a quick break, and we'll be right back for quarter number 4.
Sooner so we can reference. Thanks for coming back to us here at this exciting Minnesota Strike game versus Portland Rising from Maine. We do want to take a moment to indicate one of our sponsors. And specifically here, if you are enjoying today's stream, we hope you are, please consider donating by scanning the QR code you see right there on your screen or at strikeultimate.com. Minnesota Strike is a nonprofit organization. All donations go towards player pay, travel costs, and bringing you high-quality live streams like the one today. Thank you for supporting the Minnesota Strike.
VC also is the exclusive official uniform sponsor of the Minnesota Strike. Get your official Strike jerseys, hats, and more at vcultimate.com/collection/Minnesota Strike. Thanks, VC. Another shot of the awesome crowd here. We're gearing up for an exciting fourth quarter. Can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, and I do want to give credit to the environment and atmosphere that the crowd is giving. Just look at that. Also, shout out down there in the front. Those are the Strike Talk and Minnesota Wind Chill Talk crew. If you haven't gone to their podcast, you should. It's excellent. They do a lot of highlighting and even did a interview earlier this season with Amelia Zetlik.
So it looks like a zone look right off the bat from Rising. Close call there, but Bacon is able to find it. Mextroth is going to find a loopy throw over to Byers, who toes it in.
I love that attacking cross field. It wasn't maybe like the most confidence-inducing throw, but that response, and you hear it from the crowd too. They are just thrilled by that big play. What we were saying, we wanted to see big moments from big players.
Yep. And that point started out right on the sideline there with like what almost looked like a hand block that Bacon was still able to pick up. So really exciting stuff. Nice throw from Mexstroth.
Open hands. Open hands. Really good timing. And also the placement that the cutters had anticipated and gotten out into those spacements while the defense was still recovering.
Yep. And that point took 25 seconds off the clock real quick, so gives Strike lots of time to try to punch in a break here on this point.
I mean, closest we've been, look, 13-12.
Exciting stuff.
But now we saw that taste of good defensive pressure.
Yep.
Can the Strike pull it off again?
Yep. All right, so here comes Strike on defense. Nice floaty pull gives the defense lots of time to get down there, so stops that first throw.
Make some noise, fans.
Here's Cruz with the disc.
Defense.
Oh, lots of pressure there from Jane again. That matchup between Cook and Ray is pretty contentious, but Ray comes down with it.
Honestly, they've been one of my favorite matchups.
It's exciting.
It's fun to see physicality when it doesn't get dangerous.
Yep. Wool with the disc in the center of the field. Another around forehand for her, and finds Cruz, who's been a really reliable downfield option for the Rising. Cruz over to Devlin. And here's Pellegrini, who finds Ray with a streaking grab. Nice, clean offensive hold by Rising. They were really calm throughout that whole point. That's the second goal for Erin Ray in this game. We've kind of seen her do a really good job of getting open in those downfield spaces. Again, that matchup between her and Cook has been a fun one to watch. Both really talented players.
Both these teams have very good depth. They can go deep into their rosters and still have dynamic, athletic players capable of making big plays. And I think that's one of the fun things is you can go to a new game throughout the season and you'll see different aspects of their roster shine. But we're definitely getting a good glimpse of some of that depth here.
Absolutely. So Liv player getting ready to pull again. Nice floaty pull. We're going to see this Rising defense get down there like they have been doing all game. Daly catches the pull and centers to Bacon. Bacon wanted that around throw, it looks like, but takes the inside to Byers instead. Byers is going to find Rupp open in that reset space. Nice gaining yards up to Bacon. She fakes that big huck, but doesn't take it this time.
It's interesting to me that both teams tend to be setting their stack very, very deep, really looking to gain on big unders. But the disconnection comes with a risk because it means that your cutters have a harder time bailing out your resets.
Yep. Bit of a miscommunication between Daly and Mexstroth, so that's going to give Rising the disc about halfway down the field. Looks like there is a timeout called.
Timeout, Portland.
So Rising is going to take the time to send out a new line here on this timeout.
So another chance to recognize Discraft, one of our sponsors. Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports.
This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops. Some really cool merch on those shops, really unique, kind of showcasing personalities of various players. All right, we are back in action here. Looks like Devlin is going to pick up. And she will find Wool. Nice way to center it right away. Oh, and Zhao is working to get open there.
Now this is a big moment for Rising. If they can punch this in, it really opens it up, and it might potentially put the game away for them. But if Minnesota can get it back, same goes. They could close it down and close that lead. This is really pivotal as we're getting down our clock the last 10 minutes of the game.
Looks like a pick called stops play there. Players are talking about when the stall count should come back in, but O'Connell with the disc. Johnson McKee on that mark. O'Connell's trying to find that around. Instead hits the up line to Zhao. Does a great job of bodying out her defender. And that is a block for Semper. Looks like maybe a foul call. The observer was right there, so players are able to go to the observer to get an opinion. So we're going to see a quick replay and see what we think.
Another foul on play.
A little hard to tell from that angle.
It looks to me like Semper did a really good job of making her body part of the play. It definitely looked like she had the best line on that space, but as we know, that's not the end ruling. It's did she make contact? It did look like the disc was past the Rising player at the time that contact was made.
So it looks like a foul contest. Disc is going to go back to Zhao. And she gets a nice around to Cruz. Nice patience here from Rising, and also nice reset defense from the strike. Cruz and Zhao sort of playing catch back and forth in this reset space. Now Wool gets involved. Nice reset there to Cruz.
Rising players really content to play catch right now outside the end zone. They're not engaging their cutter core at all. Instead, depending on the handlers to really drive, but they're not gaining much right now. I think they're just looking for the right combination to break past this stifling defense from the strike team.
Zhao finds that floaty around up to Ray. Hendrickson taking that Ray matchup this time. Now it looks like they're sort of cycling out who's back in this backfield.
And some fresh legs, but also fresh D.
Cruz finds Pellegrini, who finds Wool.
This is really excellent red zone defense.
Yep. Looks like a pick there.
I think we're approaching 20 throws.
Yeah.
It's definitely on the upwards of 15 throws since we got into this red zone.
And it is in Rising's best interest to try to take time off the clock, especially if they do punch in this goal. So
that's a fair point.
Wool up to Pellegrini, and she is going to catch it. However, it looks like there is a stoppage. Timeout called.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was high stall. And that does take away the score. Those are heartbreaking. Those are heartbreaking.
Yeah, it looks like the coaches for Rising potentially calling that timeout like right before the throw went off, or maybe as the throw went off, and then whatever happens since is negated.
So I'm going to air out my Minnesota wind chill heart a little bit. I just watched that Minnesota-Pittsburgh game prior to coming to this, and the exact same thing happened on a shot from Sam Berglund to Brandon Mattis. Score, but it looked like it wouldn't make it. It looked like it wouldn't be overthrown, and that's such a tough place to be as a coach.
Yep.
Because you want to protect the team, and you have to make that decision in real time.
Yep.
You don't get the benefit of the playback.
Right. It's hard when you can't predict the future. You don't know exactly what's going to happen, so you have to go with your gut. And we'll see if Rising can punch it in for a second time and cement that 3-goal lead again.
Fresh D out for Minnesota.
Looks like a very similar line for Rising, though, if not the exact same. I think it is the exact same line, actually. They're putting trust in their line here. Wool picking it up with Pellegrini isolated. Nice defense from Walby to shut down that ISO cut from Pellegrini. Nice floaty throw from Wool to find Cruz. And Cruz hits Pellegrini there. Up to Ray. That was some nice patient offense, swinging it around the field to get the Rising goal.
I almost wonder if that wasn't the play call, because they ran what I would call a zipper. Peel, peel, peel. Throw, not down the middle necessarily, but to that player out into space. And then as soon as they got momentum, who makes the cut? Aaron Ray.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be.
And not even from the front of the stack. She was tucked in where, you might catch Jane Cook napping, just because often that is the initiation comes out of the front of that end zone stack.
Right, you're not expecting that. And not that these defenders are not paying attention or anything, but when you're so used to a particular kind of zipper play or a particular kind of ISO, you just might not be ready for a player coming from a different spot to be the next cut.
And one step is all that Aaron Ray needs. And note, that's all she had against Jane Cook. But yeah, a lot of excitement. Definitely feel elation. Rising has that comfortable 3-goal lead. That's at 6 minutes and counting. That's tough to claw
It's a
back.
tough one, yeah. Strike is going to be looking to get a quick hold on this one. So Rupp is going to catch the pull and center to Bacon. Bacon with an around to Byers. And looks for that reset right away. Finds Mextroth, who I guess was not able to hold on to it, so that is a turn. Player's going to pick it up and immediately look for Wilson. Not going to connect that one, but way to kind of force it down the field and make that Strike needs to work at a whole field length to get the hold.
Player had some beautiful shots in the game against New York. We haven't seen her take as many of those, I think because so much of it in the small ball, but very capable. And I do love the attack and how it puts Minnesota back on their heels in their own end zone.
Wood with some nice fakes to move that mark around. She finds Poyer. Ooh, and Poyer was looking to Byers. It looked like Hampton kind of came off to poach, and then Byers wasn't able to run through. Lots of turnovers going on here. Back and forth again. This is in Rising's favor. They're up by 3 goals. So taking up all this time with these turnovers is narrowing the chance for Strike to score some goals and come back.
Yeah, a little hasty. I think maybe the emphasis was just attack on transition. Maybe it's something they're working on in the fourth quarter with the luxury of this lead. Again, it is keeping Minnesota back. They've got the full length of the field, and they haven't made us out of the half so far.
We see Wood back here with Bacon and Rupp. She's going to clear out now. Normally we see her in the downfield space.
Finally, a big gainer. Strike finally moving a little bit more smoothly.
Nice downfield find for Sarah Mextroth over to Byers. Again, they're kind of working the width of the field, and Byers is going to boost it, looking at Poyer. And Knowles is going to get in the way. That throw just not quite enough juice to get all the way down the field there.
Well, and we've seen that shot before. That shot has not successfully been executed yet this game. We haven't seen a single person make it on that sideline heading that direction.
Yep. And part of it is that, Strike is trying to punch it in. They're trying to get a goal quickly, and sometimes it doesn't work out.
Probably also going to be a foul, no contest, but you do feel the urgency. You can see that from Strike, getting the disc moving faster.
Hampton with the disc right now. And she's going to look for Hankin on the reset. And here's Strike taking a breath, waiting a little bit for some time.
This one counts. They know it counts.
Bacon finding Mextroth. Someone's poached off. Looks like Steph Rupp is poached, but they are able to find her. Nice around there from Mextroth to Bacon. Bacon turns around and finds Poyer. And that's a hold for Minnesota Strike.
We may get another look at it here, but there was that little just like heart stutter. Did it go too high? Is she going to catch it? But I love Strike attacking back across the grain, getting out of that cluster of Rising defenders. They needed to punch this one in, and it also gets their defense going downwind.
Yep.
If they wanted a best opportunity, right here.
Yep.
Close their gap right here.
Got a replay here of that around, a little bit of pressure there from Bacon, but she turns around when that defender over pursues and hits a wide open player right away. That is Erica Bacon's 5th assist of the evening.
Portland
She
in
is
the
back.
stats.
She is back.
And this one will end when the clock reaches
Fun fact about Bacon is that she is a professor at St. John's and St. Ben's colleges, and she does beetle biology research. Cool stuff.
It is indeed. What the day jobs in Ultimate.
I know. So here's Walby with the pull. Want to get some nice distance on this. Beautiful pull there from Walby, and Wool is going to catch it and center it to Devlin, who finds Zhao. Sort of again a straight up mark there from Monshine. Zhao finds Pellegrini. So Cruz comes back for the reset. Wasn't anybody else back there to help Pellegrini out. She's going to hit Devlin. And Portland will be probably pretty content to just kind of play catch here. Take those easy throws. There's Cruz. Oh, and that arcs over Wool, but Zhao is able to come down with it and turns around to hit Pellegrini.
I also appreciate that Pellegrini waited, observer signal score. Okay, celebration, toss it in the air.
We've all been there where you think you're in and then you let go and then you aren't in and then it's turnover and it's very sad.
The clap let go celebrations in the end zone. I feel like I'm using the word terrifying maybe too much. Or maybe that's just, gosh, am I going to make another age joke? Y'all, I'm going to make another age joke. It's terrifying to watch players who just like, woo! Like,
Yeah.
did you stop rotation?
Yeah.
Are we sure?
Yeah, I
Oh,
like the
chitlins.
the heads up catch there by Zhao. The disc wasn't meant for her. It went right over the head of the intended receiver, but she's able to make that catch and then calmly throw the assist. So well done. So just over 2 minutes here left in the fourth quarter. We're going to see Strike on offense again, see if they can punch in a quick goal.
And these are, don't take it away. Portland is in control, but these are still valuable reps. It is important for Strike to be able to execute. It is important for them to be able to play with high energy and intensity all the way through a fourth quarter. And it is really important for them to have good end of quarter timing and awareness.
Yep. Looking at another sort of junky zone here from the Rising. We got a nice throw sort of threading through the cup. Another one right there. Wood is really positioning herself well to receive those.
And I also like how Strike's handlers are attacking through and getting up, able to make these throws.
Slight miscommunication there between Mexstrath and Bacon. I think Mexstrath expected Bacon to keep going towards that front cone, and then she turned around as the throw went up. So some nice movement there from Strike. A nice improvement over the first couple times they've played against this defense. Nice block from Poyer. Wow.
Oh, potential Callahan territory. But I mean, I'm with her. You're just full run through on that.
Yep. And Daly's gonna pick it up and take it to the line. And a quick punch into Mexstrath.
All things said, that was still fast. Yes, they turned it, got it immediately back. 55 seconds on the clock. They could get it within one.
They could. Yeah, the reminder here is that the fourth quarter ends a little bit differently than the other three quarters. So instead of the team with the disc getting to finish out that possession, it is clock expires, game is over. So we might see some exciting buzzer beater throws when the clock expires, 55 seconds. So keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I'm not such a diehard optimist to say like, oh, this is going to overtime for sure. No, but we could see some really good effort right here from Strike, and they can end it on a high note.
Yep.
There's a lot to take away, a lot that they can build on. They've had some excellent highlights of execution. They've had good pressure from defense. And from multiple, they were running 4 lines, right? 2 defense, 1 offense, and a swing line. That's a lot of people to cycle through and get different touches and chemistry. That's hard to get at the beginning.
And Strike with another game next weekend.
Catch us here.
So we'll both be back. So we're all excited for that, but it will be nice for them to sort of have some good momentum and some good energy going into that next week's game against Milwaukee.
I'm already looking forward to it. That's
So
a classic rivalry.
Yep. Midwest. So Wool up to Zhao. Back to Devlin.
Inside
It's
backhands.
Wool again. Nice floaty throw to right in the middle of the field here. Devlin finding Pellegrini, who's been really, really great for them down the field all throughout this game. Nice around, breaking that mark. Looks like a pick called. That will stop play. We have 23 seconds left on the clock. So Wool will tap it in with Sarah Monshine on the mark. A nice around there to Cruz. And a floaty throw, but then Zhao catches it with what looks like her face. So a really emphatic spike. They're using every part of their body to score goals here, and, you know, we love to see it.
It looked like there for a second that Minnesota would get their chance. Instead, they are able to pull it in. When it caught that upward edge and started floating, I was like, oh, this could be it. This could be it. But not quite enough defenders. Let's get another look at that. See how it just hangs. And her hand goes over it, but the arm and the other hand are there. The trap is there. The celebration is too.
The body language. And like you were saying, like, there's so much joy with both of these teams, but especially we can see this Rising team is just having a lot of fun. And that's what Ultimate is about at the end of the day. So really like to see that. So 12 seconds left on the clock. So we're going to see probably an exciting last possession. Might see a deep throw go up for that buzzer beater. So we'll see what happens here.
When the time expires.
One last pull here from Zhang.
Yeah, Rising pulls, again, let's give them credit. They've had excellent pulls.
Really
Haven't
good
had
pulls.
a single one go out of bounds unless it was a roller and intended to do so. But none of them landing out, and they have just given strategic positioning. Look at that.
Yeah, that's
all
really
of a
awesome.
pull.
Daly having to back up to catch it.
All the way back behind the 20. That's superb.
10 seconds left in the game here. Bacon finds Mexstroth. And Mexstroth is going to put it up, and this looks like it'll be the last throw of the game. Sort of a contested catch here, but the clock has expired, so that's going to be the end of our game.
Tough way to end it.
Yeah, final score 17 Portland, 14 for Minnesota. Really a hard-fought, well-played game by both teams. Rising comes out on top.
Yeah. I enjoy the response. I love that it didn't seem that Minnesota, gave up there at the end, just maintained intensity all the way through. I thought the execution on their offense got better, which was fantastic. Rising, what a show.
Yeah.
Portland Rising, fantastic show. Really good effort and execution. Love their defense. I'm absolutely going to go back and watch the film on that one. And just good effort top to bottom from both rosters.
Absolutely.
What a game.
So it looks like we might have an on-field interview in just a moment here. But before we send it down to the field, I think a couple things to note. Like we said, this was Strike's first game of the season. They have another game next week. Portland Rising, this was their second game, and really good for them to get a good win under their belt. Like we said, they had a tough loss against New York Gridlock last week. Now they're the ones who are coming into their away field here in Minnesota and getting the win. So that's got to be really good for them. So if you enjoyed today's stream, please consider donating by scanning the QR code on your screen at strikeultimate.com. Minnesota Strike is a nonprofit organization, and all donations go toward player pay, travel costs, and bringing you high-quality streams like the one today. Thank you for supporting the Strike. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today.
Look down on your screen. You can see the fans celebrating, stomping, clapping, appreciation for this Strike team that put on a show. And I love to see that appreciation back too. Players know that they are here. It's a privilege. It is a privilege to play. It is such a privilege to be paid to play. That's an amazing thing that, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 5 still didn't exist. And I love that it's happening now and that we're seeing it drive the development of Ultimate just as the youth is increasing. Just giving opportunity for players, more people to see the game maybe than have never seen it before.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to have an interview on the field with one of the Portland Rising players. So don't go away. We'll be right back with that interview. All right, folks, and we are back. And while we wait for that interview on field, we're going to take a look back at those keys to the game. Kelsey, what do you notice from having watched the game now and what our coaches told us they were looking for before the game started?
Yeah, I think the coaches can be really happy with some of the things that their teams accomplished. Let's start with Minnesota. For example, one of their key things was developing identity, chemistry with the infusion of new players. I think we really saw some of that, especially there in that fourth quarter. I loved the explosive beginning. I loved the just moments of brilliance throughout. They're going to have the rest of the season to really pull this together. They had a great run into the playoffs last year. We know they're a high caliber team. So we can see some of these pieces from them, just more execution. First game, you got to get the jitters out.
Yep.
From Portland's piece, I thought they really killed their goals. Defensive conversion, I'd have to see the numbers on it. But overall, strong resets, maintaining good possession, trusting those resets and not bailing out of them too soon. And then we talked about the Joy All game because they were playing with an inner light that was really visible. So I think a lot for both teams to be proud of here. I think they really showed the best of what this sport can be in terms of athleticism, what was on display, good physical but safe matchups. That was fantastic to see. And some really elite level plays in terms of defensive effort, throw execution, timing of when to make those. I'll harken back to one of those last points of the crisscross from Poyer to Mextroff and then over
to Byers.
Byers, yeah. Thank you for filling in the gap of my brain there. But they covered a full 40 yards of the field in 2 throws, but they also covered an additional 50 yards just of width of the field in between those. And that's fantastic. That's really good vision and anticipation. So, a lot of fun. This will be a fun one to watch back. Definitely. I can't say it enough. The environment. Live Ultimate is fantastic. Come join us at the games. Come wave at us through the window. We've had a couple of those too. They've been fun.
We're going to take a look at a replay of some of the top plays from our game today. Kind of a reminder of what we've seen, the awesome talent and firepower on the field on this beautiful Saturday. And one thing that Strike did a good job of was, after that first possession, playing against that zone where they were hand blocked. Then I think they were able to pick up and kind of clean it up a little bit later in the game.
Yeah, made some adjustments.
There's the blowing the candles out.
Yeah, the celebrations. We saw the first of Emma Poyer's many goals.
Oh, beautiful hammer from Mextra
to Emma Poyer.
Picture perfect. So hard to defend, too. What can you even do as a defender there?
Run hard and don't stop.
Spoken like a coach. Nice block from Bacon.
Yeah, there were so many good run-through Ds. Just on the hip, heavy pressure. If there was just a fraction wrong on the throw, if it was a half step back, defense was there.
Yep. Absolutely.
And there, that first adjustment from Bacon as she charged up line, and the momentum
Beautiful
to
throw.
that
That might be
gorgeous
my
match.
favorite throw of the day. It was so perfect, just on a platter. That sort of inside nature of it made it really hard for the defender to read it. That was beautiful.
Loved the shot to helm and the celebration from Monsheim.
That was their first break of the day, I believe.
Really key momentum. Wow. Acceleration from Jane Cook, and you can see there that matchup. Go back and just look at the points where the two of them are matched up. Both incredibly dynamic and explosive.
Absolutely.
And this, the change of direction. The OG chemistry right there. And there it is. There she is, right there. Poyer to Mextroff to Danny. My friend Keith Rayner says, Danny buckets. We saw a little bit of that on display today. Again, gorgeous run through Ds.
Minnesota Strike's young fans are enjoying the open field space now. Maybe in 10, 15 years we'll see them out here on the field too.
Might not be that long. Amelia leading the charge.
True. That looks like a Poyer fan there. So it looks like we're going to head down to a interview with some members of the Portland Rising team. So shortly we'll have Laura Osterland with Colette Pellegrini and Jean Huang. We'll send it to a quick break, and when we'll come back, we will have those players on interview. All right, and we are back here. Let's head down to the field with Laura Osterland, who is with Portland Rising players Colette Pellegrini and Jean Huang.
All right, great game. What do you think helped contribute to your success this game?
Well, we run kind of a separate three-line system, and we continue to practice that every week. And I think chemistry has been a big help for us this season, just like getting to play with the same 6 or 7 people each week and build chemistry.
I think this game in particular, our energy was way up the whole game. We were supporting each other on the sidelines, on the field. We never stopped talking to each other and bringing each other up. So I think our energy.
And then Strike wasn't able to get many breaks against you. What do you think helped with your offense to not allow that to happen?
You're on the O-line, so you should take that one.
We ran our system. I think in our gridlock game, we did a really great job of running the system. We just had a couple of tweaks we had to make. And I think in this game, we just went out in full force and, did everything we were supposed to do and didn't think too much about the other team and got those goals.
So going into your next game, what are the takeaways from this one?
I think what Coco said, energy is a huge one. Like, that's the foundation of our team. And when we can when we have that base of energy, it kind of just everything else falls into place. Execution we can always practice, but energy comes from within us, and each of us needs to bring that to the field to support each other.
Do you have any other final thoughts and final shout outs you want to share?
Yeah, I'm going to shout out this one. It's her birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I want to shout out Chloe Rouse. She had like 12 Ds and she has a broken wrist. And she's just incredible.
And she's our owner.
Yeah.
So she's doing a lot behind the scenes to make this happen in the league, and we're super grateful for her to be here, crush it, and do everything behind the scenes. It's crazy.
All right, well, congrats on the win. Back to you in the booth.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Laura. We appreciate that. And I loved that appreciation and recognition of leadership and the sacrifice that leadership makes in order to make a big, or call it orchestration like this, come into place. So interesting too, energy.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that, and I love that was so high in their focus. And you called it, birthday girl.
Their celebration, they did a really good job. If they should start playing charades because they're going to do a really good job. Well, that is a wrap on Minnesota Strike's first game of the season. 17-14 for Portland is the final score. We really appreciate you taking the time to watch our live stream today. Like Kelsey said, feel free to come join us at Seafoam Stadium for the Strike's next game, next Saturday right here against the Milwaukee Monarchs. Again, thanks so much, and we'll catch you next time.
Appreciate you.